Hi, and in this part we'll be finally ending this ordeal by defeating a giant fire-breathing lizard. You know, just your standard test of the hero. You know, how come these people never ask for a written test? You know, or a multiple choice test. But anyway, at this point I decided to get rid of the mist summon, because there's another summon I want to try out. But you do have to wait a while before summoning again. I'm sure it takes a lot out of Joseph.
Look, on that stone. Could that be the ring of fire?
There appears to be some sort of writing on it.
Careful.
It's some sort of High Elvish. One ring to rule them all.
Happening?
Bowser! It's okay, we'll just jump over him and touch the axe.
The Kasani can't make us fight that thing. It's not fair.
Draw your weapons. The ordeal isn't over yet.
Oh, Joseph. Trying to sound badass. But anyway, now we summon the golem. Now, the golem is a figure taken from Jewish mythology. And the idea is you build a man out of clay and he comes to life and does your bidding. Which, yeah, there you go. Now, of course, the golem, as you can see in this game, it's a figure that's sort of evolved in a sense. And what I mean is, you can have a golem made out of anything. Like we see in this game, there's brass, stone and the like. Now, at this point, I'll switch to Rosalind and try casting ice spells at the guy. Yeah, a downside with the golem is that he's ridiculously slow. So during this boss fight I thought it would be effective because I played it before and I know the guy doesn't move around that much while you're fighting him, but he does move around the arena. Ugh, I'm slowly going to walk over here. Yeah, and this doesn't really serve any purpose. Really, just... But oh well, you know. But then again, if I was a giant lizard and someone was attacking me, I would move around. Like something I didn't realise up until fairly recently is that the word salamander means sort of dragon. I'm sure a lot of people do this, but when you say salamander, I think of the little amphibian. So, which, yeah, a fire-breathing dragon and a little amphibian. Yeah. That's it, Gollum. Go get him. Oh, Salamanca, when I eventually get there, you're in trouble. Now, unfortunately, you can't really get stats for your creatures, so I don't know if the Golem has resistance to fire or magic in general, but I sort of guessed he might. You know, he's a rock type, and Salamanca's a fire type. I love the exciting music as the golem slowly lumbers towards the boss. I'm gonna call you Steve. You're Steve the Golem. Now, I guess this is another reason why you want to level up your magic resistance to reduce the damage that fire does. But then again, there are these physical attacks he does. But fortunately, you can see here Jakar's right in front of the creature, and he's taking most of the damage. Oh, come on, guys! I just want you to play. Oh. Flop. Well, I do wonder, realistically, if you have a being that can withstand lava, his skin must be like harder than diamonds. It really must. Okay, now we have the final phase of the boss fight, but yeah, he's not going anywhere, so I pick up another chainmail tunic, which is lying around here. And yeah, to talk about this boss fight, you know, I do make some jokes about it going on too long, but yeah, it's fairly fun. You get to fight a big fire-breathing lizard. What's you know, what's bad about that? And to talk about his element of fire, there are specific rings which give resistances to certain elements. Like later on, we'll see the Pyros ring, which will give us a resistance to fire. Which I don't really bother with because your enemies will be fairly varied, you know, and that I can't be bothered to equip and unequip, if you know what I mean. Like, oh, there's an enemy that uses ice, better equip the Phrygus ring, and then take it off, and oh look, there's an enemy that uses fire, I better equip the Pyros ring. But yeah, the Golem, you can see here, he has some pretty hefty combos here. Including in power, so he makes himself stronger as he fights. And that's all she wrote. Ooh, he's really angry. His blood is boiling. And there we go. You know, something I didn't try, which I regret now, is I didn't try to equip the ring we got before the cutscene. And I do wonder, would have that been in my inventory? And if so, that might have been useful. But anyway, I take a butcher's hook at my ring here, the Ring of Fire. Previously owned by Johnny Cash. Oh, see, he does give you a resist fire. And you also just saw the Pyros ring underneath it. That also, you know, reduces your fire damage. And with that, yep, the ordeal is over. Although, for something called the ordeal, it's actually the shortest dungeon we've had so far. And it's interesting too, so yeah, a good dungeon. I guess if I would nitpick, I would say some of the puzzles were obscure. Oh, pardon me, I'm just reading the lore here. And we're also told a bit more about Ruka, who's one of the old Gosani and a former summoner, who defeated the 4 demons previously, which will come into play a bit later on. You know, this Ruka character does sound like an interesting guy. I guess, look, this will never happen, but I suppose if they ever made a prequel, knowing about the 10,000 years of chaos previously could be an interesting way to start. Well, I was saying that I would like to see the future of the Summoner world as well. And well, I'll say it's unlikely. The rights of Summoner have been purchased by someone because THQ went out of business. So I guess it is technically possible there could be another Summoner game, but considering it's very obscure, I doubt it. And speaking of Ruka, the great hero, we're also given a side quest to find out what happened to him, which we'll be finding out a little further on in the game. And yeah, because speaking of which, the whole medieval continent, we're done with it for now. Nearly done with it. We've explored all the key places, and now after this we're heading home. Oh, and that's the thing I should mention, the story as well. Just a reminder, Joseph was born the Summoner, and he was given the quest to find the 4 rings. And we found them now, so presumably we just head back to Medieval and we come up with a plan. And I like the fact that this side quest feeds into the bigger story in the world at large. Like, for example, the Kosani, they are the keepers of the law. They know that the old history of Medieval, and so we get this side quest which feeds into that. We're helping the law keeper gain some new law to keep. So yeah, that's beneficial. I like it. Really like these side quests, the way they feed into the story. They just build the world. It's a nice bit of flavour text. And honestly, nearly all of them are optional, so it's not like they're forced down your throat. Yeah, like I was saying that, I talk about doing optional stuff. If you play an RPG, surely you play it to explore and talk to people, and just get to know the land a bit more. Anyway, Ilari, the priestess. Now this is again a bit of history as well. She talks about the flood, where the god of the water flooded the land. Oh, and here we go. A mention of the Munari. Now, if you played the second game, you know that the Munari are the water people, which are kind of cool. But again, we don't see them in this game at all. It's the second game. And what's interesting is they have a bit of history antagonist between the two. And in fact, this side quest is about finding a way to freeze ice. Sorry, a way to freeze water instantly. Now, this is a side quest we won't complete until the last third of the game, but I find that a bit interesting as well. And I like how the Munari are mentioned here, but they're only explored in the sequel. In fact, it's like the first game and the second game complement each other story-wise. Two halves of the same coin. Well, I was saying that I do kind of regret we don't see the Kosani that much in the second game at all. In fact, I don't think you do. I think there's an occasional cameo, but other than that, no. And I talking to this guy will complete these seeds of our whole quest. And I like this guy. He's such a little cheap little con artist. Yeah, now as you can see, you can sort of go up in the prices, but you don't want to negotiate too high, because eventually I think he just gives you the low price anyway. But I got a reasonable amount off him, so there you go. And with that, we've sort of set up a few side quests in the city of the Kosani here. And if I haven't said before, I really like this location, and it really does become more important in the later part of the game. It becomes your central hub. But yep, again, since we've completed a dungeon, we get a fight from one of the 4 riders. And in this case, it will be the Phoenix Rider. So, once we're done loading... I said once we're done loading... Yeah, get the PC version. I keep saying, but... Excuse me, do you know the way to San Jose? Now, I send out the golem here because I figure rock beats fire again. But again, his speed doesn't really help that much. It sort of hinders him. But nevertheless, he does have his use, and you'll see during the end of the fight. Now, of course, the Phoenix Rider, he does use fire-based moves. So actually, even though I knocked those elemental rings, if you have like the rings that help you resist fire, you might want to equip them now. And because I didn't say before, I really like the effect the golem has when he emerges from the ground. The sort of lava erupts and sort of cools down around him, and he sort of forms from the earth itself. It's actually a really cool effect. Now, even though the golem's slow, he's pretty heavy, a pretty heavy hitter. And as you can see, the Phoenix Rider did a move which knocked 2 of my party members down. And the golems, very useful ability, they are immune from being knocked over. Which, in the later half of the game, you get bosses which do that a lot. And the golem summons, because there's more than one, the golem summons become very useful. Ha! By getting off my horse, I've lost a tactical advantage. I'm a genius! Yeah, this guy needs to read the Art of War. But yeah, you can really see he's pummeling me with fire arrows. Now, of course, you might be wondering, he's the Phoenix Rider, does he have any special abilities relating to that? And the answer is yes. He revives himself if he gets killed. Which, again, it does give another reason to use the Golem, though. Because even though the Golem's slow, the time it takes for him to resurrect gives enough time for the Golem to head over there. So at this point it becomes somewhat a war of attrition. And as I've said before with the Full Riders, the first one is the hardest. And I think that's just because you only have 3 party members. At this point you've got your full team and a potential summon. Of course, that move there using the firewall, which is actually quite clever of him, because sometimes your AI allies, if they're in a firewall and being burnt, they won't move. That's what the AI is like here. But thanks for watching.